Hello, my name is Robert, and today I'm going to show you how to do the looping corridor animation that I posted quite a while back on YouTube. Some people actually asked me to do this, which is why I'm doing it. I'm sorry for the delay, so let's go into it. So first of all, let's delete our scene and let's make a cube, and if we press N, this panel will appear, and we want the dimensions to be 10 by 10 by 10. Awesome. So I want you to press on this cube thingy over here, and you want this to be on wire. No, well, bounce will work fine too. And if we go into front ortho by pressing 1 and 5 in our numpad, we can move this up, just like that. We want this to be touching this thingy over here, this grid looking thing. And basically we want this to be on wire mode, basically because we don't want this to appear in our animation, and also so we have a reference for where we'll be putting some panels I'll show you how to make right now. So if we go into a different layer and go into plane, you can create as many as you want. I'll show you how to do one. You can also make actually longer ones, just like this, and you can also actually use cubes. You can do literally whatever you want, just fill it in. This is how I did it. It's a modular design thing, so it's pretty good. So first of all, what you would do is make the pieces that we'll be making now, and then you put them where the cube is, the one with the wireframe. Okay, so I want you to press I to make this insert face, and so we have this border over here. So I want you to subdivide, and I want you to use the poke tool, and so we get this. Well, what I'm trying to get here is kind of like how do you call them? Like those panels that are used to isolate noise. I think that's something pretty cool that looks kind of like sci-fi. So it's something that I would definitely add to the corridor. And you can make, I mean, you don't have to use it obviously, you can use whatever you want. So if we move this up with the Z, we get like these spiky looking things, which is pretty nice. It's really cool. So you can just go ahead and make like different looking things, and I would recommend you have this border over here just so when you add the pieces, like they aren't colliding or anything like that, which can look a little bit weird in the animation. So I want you to move this, I want you to duplicate this actually, and move this over here, and you basically would just want to place them all over around the walls and the floor, and I'm not going to do it because it takes quite a long time. So I'm going to jump ahead and make the camera. Okay, so I'm going to set the rotation to 0, and I want the X to be at 90, and actually let's select this cube. Let's shift S and cursor to selected, and shift S selection to cursor, and we want to have it just right over there. Okay, so as you can see, the Y is at 5 for the camera, and the camera will be moving this way, and you'll be asking yourself, well, why do I want it there? Well, actually, we're going to, once you get this the walls, you want to make it into an object, and you want to add it to this, and you want to make an array. So if we make an array, we set the relative offset to 1, and we add, I think 8 actually looks fine. Yeah, 8 is, I think that's what I used. 8 will be perfectly fine. The camera basically will be moving in this direction, and when it gets there, it will actually, the animation will start over from here, so it will be seamless basically. Okay, so if the Y is at 5 for the camera, I'm actually going to delete this array. We want, well, first of all, we want we should have the timeline down here. If you don't have it, you just drag this out and select timeline. I'm actually going to join this back. Okay, perfect. I'm going to press I, and we want to do location. So if we do 5 plus 10 is 15, if we move it to 15, and well, first of all, our animation will be 100, and we put our frame at 9 at 100. Oh, actually we have to move this back, sorry. 15, and we press I, location. We have our animation. So that is just pretty much all you need. So now we're going to go over the lighting, which is really simple. Okay, so now, and with the cursor over here in the center, we want to make a light. It will be area, and actually let's put this into cycles, I forgot. And we want this to be area, use nodes, and the strength will be 1000. Okay, so we want the X to be 270, and we want to move this back quite a bit. I'm not sure if this will be enough. We'll have to see later. Maybe just a little bit more. And I actually want to, where's our camera? I'm going to add this. We want to add the light under the camera, the hierarchy, so it follows it, just like that. Okay, so now for the color, depending on the theme of your further animation, you'll probably want to, for example, if you want to make it, let's say it's going to be blue, we'll make it blue. Okay, and now if we go into front ortho view, you want to press Shift D X, want to make quite a few with that shape, and we also want to move them back, and you want to do different tones of colors. They can be quite a bit different, so don't be scared to try different things. So let's do this pink, let's do this one, that one of blue, maybe this one green, and this one and the tone of purple. So that should look pretty nice. And also you now want to create a, well, actually first of all, with the camera selected, if we press O, actually let's make the array again. And let's make this 8. We want to make the camera, we want the focal length to be, let's try 15, maybe a bit less, 13, no, I think that's too much, let's go with 15, yeah. And that it's pretty much it. And if you want, actually I also added a circle which was just in front of these lights, and actually let's make it. So if we go into curve, circle, RX90, we want the level depth to be quite a bit higher, and we want to add a high resolution. Let's try 5. And that looks pretty good. And actually I forgot we want this to be full. So now if we add this over here, no, that's too far away. Perfect. And now we actually want to make it a mesh by pressing Alt-C. Curve from mesh. No, sorry. Mesh from curve. And now we want to add this under the camera. So select the and drag it down there. Perfect. So now this should follow it. Yeah. It's actually going backwards. And I also added a emissive material to this mesh circle donut looking thing. And now to finish off, we want to go over the compositing. So what you would want to do, well actually I want you to see if I find the old project and I can show you over there so you actually have a better looking result, because this will be empty. So just give me a minute and I'll stop the video right now and see if I find it. Okay, so I actually just found the old project. So if you're going to render and you want to make sure you render image, and you actually want this to be with low settings, so you can have this like at 40 or something and have your samples way down, so it only takes like 1 minute to render. You want to go into the node editor and go into actually if you press on compositing, this should appear. So if you go into the node editor, as I said before, you want to add a render layer. And okay, I'll explain what why I have 2 glares. So first of all, this adding one glare over another, well first of all, a glare kind of makes it made the render look a bit foggy. So if you add a glare and then you add another one, it kind of like doubles it in a way. It looks pretty cool. And then you want to get from the ZA divide node, and well math node, and add, it's actually a math, and then you set this to divide. You want the value to be 60, and you also want a color ramp. You want to put this in the fact. In the image, just leave this like this, and add this then to the composite. But remember, for this to work, I'm pretty sure you need to have the render image so you can actually see the effect. And then you want to go into this camera thingy over here. You want to add this 50%. You want to add the resolution you want. 1920 by 1080 is probably the best option. You also want to add quite a few samples. I added 250, and as you can see, it looks pretty cool. Don't go overkill like with 500 or 1000, especially if you're using a CPU, because mine took like literally 3 days to render. Pretty awful. And even if you add too many samples, you'll still have a few fireflies, although it's not very noticeable. So that's all. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know this was kind of boring video, especially going over the steps and not really explaining it too well, but just to make sure that this was short, this is the reason why I did it like this. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions about this or any suggestions for future videos, make sure to leave them down below. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.